I'm excited today to talk about Summer Prime Day, or the original Prime Day, if you will, and kind of get into how we can help all of the loyal Amazon brands, our loyal watchers, and our loyal audience out there, help them succeed. And also a few extra little tidbits that might not have been, might not be true, could be true. Some rumors surrounding the event, one of Amazon's biggest shopping events of the year. So yeah, I'm saying let's just get right into it. So this is a similar episode, again, like I mentioned, to discussing and getting ready for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. But this time it's surrounding Fall Prime Day, or not Fall Prime Day, Summer Prime Day, or just Amazon Prime Day. It's exciting. It's one of the biggest, like I said, biggest shopping events of the year. What are we looking at? What are we seeing? What is something that people should be starting to do now to get ready for the event? I've got a million questions for you, but let's just go ahead and let's just jump right into it.
Okay, Pete. Yeah. Where do we want to start? We got a lot going on. Like, the thing about it is April 1st. April 1st right now, and so there's so many different things that need to happen by July. It's not, everybody's like, I got time.
Nope.
You don't have time.
Right.
You got to be checking out your listings. You got to check out your variations. You're checking out your store page, your brand story, A plus, all that kind of stuff. Get all that in control and in hand and all that, and then set yourself up for success. So from now till then, make sure that you're working on that. But we can go into that a little bit. But the main things here is, guys, is that there is a rumor that Prime Day is going to be 4 days this year. 4 days instead of the usual 2. So if you're going to be running that hot deal, you got to make sure that you have that inventory to support it. And if you don't have that inventory to support it, you might want to pull back and make sure that you're not pushing too hard during the day. Because the worst thing that you can do is kind of stock out. I mean, well, it's a good problem to have, but not a good problem to have, because right around the corner you're running right into that big spring or a big October big deal day. So you want to make sure that you got enough inventory. So any thoughts on inventory and 4 days, James?
Yeah. Obviously I think Amazon, that rumor is probably based off of Walmart's and Target's days, right? I think they're, instead of going with the 2 day, they're trying to go for that 4, because you have Circle Week, right? I think Target Circle Week, and then whatever Walmart has, which is Walmart deals or whatever. So, yeah, I'm sure they're expanding that for those purposes, just to kind of compete. But inventory is super, super, super important. I think we kind of are broken records here with a lot of different brand managers. It's one of the oversight. I think a lot of people just are like, hey, I scheduled my deal, I'm ready to go, and then come to find out they ship maybe 2 weeks ahead of time before the event, and then they're wondering why I don't have any inventory in stock. Okay. I don't know about you, Eric, but I did see a lot of delays on AWD this past run, lost shipments and so forth. So have a pivot strategy in place. Don't ship everything you have to AWD, just in case you have the receiving errors or receiving delays. Go ahead and get a small case pack or a couple of case packs, send it UPS, at least have some inventory on its way, bypassing like an LTL, AWD, or something like that. Eric, I didn't know if you saw anything like that recently.
Yeah. The logistics team was having a big struggle this like last couple of months. Everything was getting delayed. I don't know if it was everybody was shipping into AWD because it's kind of a newer program, and that team just got a little bit backed up or what, but I would recommend that you send in some AWD, maybe some FBA, and even split your ASIN into an FBM, FBA if your warehouse can handle that sort of volume. Your FBM listing will kick on when you run out of FBA inventory, but just have that backup plan, like James is saying. You can, like, if you're a one-man operation or one-woman operation, or if you're just like a small warehouse, there is capacity limits that you can set on the back end of Amazon. You can set it to any number you want. I think it defaults, if you flip that little switch, I think it's at 50 or something like that. So what that means is, if you're just a small-time seller, if you're just doing it out of your garage, and if you get 1,000 orders, you're never going to be able to do that yourself. You can set it up to 50. At least you're making some cash during that time. But so just kind of to run that through. So they have announced, Amazon, I'm going to read it off right here, is the key shipping deadlines is going to be May 15th, 2025 for the Amazon warehousing and distribution, which is AWD cutoff date, right? May 15th is the AWD cutoff date. June 9th is your FBA shipments with minimal shipment split options. And then June 18th is your FBA shipments with Amazon optimized shipment splits. Important for Amazon partner carrier shipments, have your inventory ready 14 days before these deadlines. So if you're looking at May 15th, you want to be set up for on May 1st, June 9th, whatever that 14-day math is. And then June 18th would be, June 4th. So make sure that your inventory is ready before those. So just get it in as soon as possible. And you'll set yourself up for success. Like, even if you got to pay like 1 month of excess inventory fees, it might be worth it just to have that inventory there. Because the worst thing that can happen is, like James is saying, is if there's any sort of delay and you have zero inventory for the event, you're going to miss the entire event. Or it might show up like, if there is a delay in the inventory, people can still buy your product, but it might show that they're not going to get it for 2 weeks. Nobody's going to buy your product, right? They're just going to hop off you, and you're just going to feed that your competitor all of the money. You might as well just start shoveling it in their wallet. But also, I kind of want to pivot over to, unless anybody else has shipping issues or things to talk about with shipping.
No, what do you got? What else you got for prepping
pricing
for it? Yeah, absolutely.
I want to talk about pricing right now. Okay, so we are in April. We got new tariffs coming. We got all sorts of different things happening. Your cost of goods are going up. Be careful, because I know, like, right now, did you build into your product already 20% margin for promotions? Maybe you built in 25% off for promotions, but did you build in 10% tacos? Like, how much money did you build in for ad spend and promotions? Because Amazon is going to probably make you, like, as far as Prime exclusive discounts go, you're going to want to be at about 20% off. Well, you have to be at 20% off, excuse me. Anything under that, you're going to be going into a coupon. You're going to go into just a regular ASIN / through sale. It's fine. You'll get some traffic, but it's not as sexy as going in with that Prime exclusive discount. The Prime exclusive discounts now do have additional fees attached to them as well, so you have to build that into your margin. So if you're going to raise your prices at any point, I would suggest that you do them now and be very mindful and be very careful, because Amazon will need about 60 days for those pricing to index. And if you don't have enough sales there, it's Amazon's game, right? They can decide to index your price or not. So be careful with that. But if you're going to do it as soon as possible, so that way it gives it enough time to get that indexation. Indexation?
That's a word. That sounds right.
Yeah, that's a
that
word.
Sounds good.
So that way, when you do go into those Prime exclusive discounts, you're not running into any errors. James, I know you've been kind of focusing on some of that stuff lately. Any other advice on that?
Yeah, just to kind of go back just a little bit. So 75 days in advance have inventory at Amazon, right? That's kind of what you're looking at. 60 days plus a 2-week buffer, okay? So adhere to the warnings. Don't be surprised, right? With Prime exclusives or big deals, July Prime is it, right? I think a lot of the consensus during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I heard customers are complaining that a Black Friday or Cyber Monday deal wasn't 15 or 20% off. They wanted 30, 40, 50% off. Obviously, if you could do it, great. Maybe pick one item and do that as your leader, your little lead, or your lost leader. But these days of tariffs, overall profitability, costs going up in regards to opting in for these promos, you want to make sure that you have it outlined in a budget of how much this is going to cost you. You know what I mean? Don't be surprised later on down the line when you look at your payout and you're like, wait a second, I thought we sold so much more than this. Don't be surprised. So you want to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row. But yeah, try everything. Try your coupons, try the cross promotions. I love the fact that Amazon now allows non-stackable promotions, which is great. So you can be a little bit more methodic or a little bit less cautious of that promo and knowing that that potentially can't be stacked. So there's some really good things there, but again, trying things out through the year, have a look back. You should be keeping record of all the promos that you're doing and how successful those were, right? Does a coupon work? If you're going to do a coupon, does the percentage off or the amount off work better for you on conversion? Don't know. Right. Is a markdown going to perform better than a coupon? Not sure. With your client, it's client specific, category specific. But you should be trying these things, and then later on down the line, you're like, hey, last year Prime, we did this. We're going to mimic the same thing and kind of compare the successes, right? So just be a little bit organized, have your checklist ready, and ready to keep your KPIs, right?
I wanted to switch into Amazon lying, and Amazon lying to us and to the rest of the selling community. How they said in the beginning of the year that there were going to be no new fees in 2025. There were going to be no changes to fees in 2025. There was going to be no updates to this. There's no increase in fees, all that kind of good stuff. And they didn't even make it 3 months, because at the time of this recording, the end of March, they have announced that they are going to be changing the way that the fees are processed for deals and coupons. And it's going to be coming in the beginning of June. So, of course, a month before Prime Day. And so what's happening is now it's lightning deals. They used to cost $150. Now it's going to be $70 per day plus 1% of sales, which is, it's capped at $2,000. Thanks, I guess. Best deals used to only cost $300 for 7 days. Now it's similar to the lightning deals where it's $70 per day plus 1% of sales. No word on a cap on that one. We've got coupons that used to be $60 per unit redeemed. Now it's going to be $5 per coupon plus 2.5% of sales. Again, no cap on that one either. And it's going to be Prime Day discounts. Lastly, is going to be doubled from $50 a day to $100 a day per Prime exclusive discount. So it's a little ridiculous how they're going about this. Again, they lied to us. They told us there weren't going to be any fee increases or any new fees. And yet here we are with some not only fee increases, but also some new ways to charge us for these discounts. Again, right before the biggest sales event of the year, aside from Black Friday, Prime Day in July. So very interesting.
Yeah, and it could be that they're trying to like weed out some of the 3Ps from doing these promotions, where the brand, the manufacturer, is going to have the money to, or the margin to kind of move that. So it could be that kind of strategy. It could be that, I mean, it could be anything. Amazon could be understaffed. Could be, just they're trying to cover their tariffs. Like, who knows, right? So when you just know that there's going to be these additional fees. So that means that as a seller, you need to decide, go back to like, what's your margin look like? What's your product? Who are you selling to? Are you an economy brand? Are you a premium brand? Are you somewhere in the middle? Like who is your audience? What are you doing? Do you advertise, or do you promote sometimes, never, once a year, whatever? So like certain things that you kind of consider, like if you have like a consumable, you might want to eat it, like just maybe take a small, you might want to like eat the loss on the Prime Day to get a subscribe and save deal out of it. So maybe you want to go with the 20% Prime exclusive discount with a 5% coupon off your first sub and save. And now you have all that traffic coming in from the event,
right?
Getting some sub and saves. Now, instead of like going to, like James said, like start quantifying your efforts. So if you have one ASIN that you're going to do, I'm going to do a coupon on, $1 off. Then I'm going to have this other ASIN that I'm going to do a percentage off, and now start tracking that. It might cost you a little bit more to kind of spread that out, but now you're going to set yourself up for success later. So with going back to this other idea with the Prime exclusive discount, 20% off, and a 5% off subscribe and save coupon first time, now you want to quantify the effort on how many subs and saves that you got. If you hit a certain number, whatever you want to quantify that as a success, then you know that that's a good play, and you can do it. So maybe for October big deal days. So you got to kind of start thinking about like what's the risk factor here. So like if your item is a thing where you buy it once and you're done, maybe you don't want to participate because of all these additional fees and all these margins and stuff. Or maybe you just want to do like a slash through, a smaller discount, 5%, and just hope that you get some, influx of traffic coming in. So it really is going to be up to the product. You really need to start thinking about your own product. It just at this point in the game, with all the stuff that's happening, with just everything that's happening, you might have to sit this one out a little bit, or maybe not even participate in the full promotion. So I don't know, James, do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, good points. I ultimately think, is Amazon doing it because of third parties? I like that scenario. I'm seeing this might be because also the new permissions that are changing, where third party sellers have to have, be in the portal that's coming. So I like that analogy for sure, which then makes you think too is product segmentation, right? So I'm a manufacturer, I'm a brand, I have 3,000 ASINs. Does it make sense to have all 3,000 SKUs on Amazon? Does it make sense, right? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But I think ultimately you might have some products that have more margin where you can play in the ecosystems and do discounts and so forth. But you got to be smart about it. You got to do catalog cleanup. You really have to make your adjustments based off the data that you're seeing, which also goes into play too, is you utilizing some third-party partners that are out there. What are your competitors doing? Are they raising their price? And how often are they updating their price? We did an exercise last week, and I noticed that one competitor over the course of 30 days probably changed their price every other day. They were changing their pricing. Okay.
Up or down?
Both up and down.
Oh, wow.
Right. So they probably had an inflated price and then ran a promo for 2 or 3 days at 25% off, and then went back in, edited the markdown sale, and had it run for 15% off. Or there was a lot of adjustments. So I don't know if they were trying to figure out what the take rate was. They were trying to trigger a badge. I'm not too sure, right? Or Amazon Choice. But competitors are doing it. Everybody's in the same spot. So tariffs, everybody's in the same playing ground. So if you manufacture your product in China, the only one that's not is manufacturers in the United States, right? Those are the ones that are not getting hit. Okay. So, and also the playing field is exactly that. So everybody has their product, but some might be a little bit more at advantage. So let's say a competitor goes, hey, your brand, your client was like, hey, listen, I have a competitor, but they're not adjusting their price. Well, they might have committed to several containers weeks or months prior to the tariff being implemented. So they're sitting on a good profit margin, knowing that. So they already went and did a bulk purchase, got that shipped over. Maybe it's an AWG just sitting there. Maybe it's in their own 3PL, and they're kind of releasing it as it goes to try to get that competitive advantage. So there's a lot of strategies that are at play on the tariff side. But yeah, it's ultimately just really, like Eric said, is where is your profitability? And are you able to opt into the promo? Does it even make sense for you? But who knows?
Yeah, and like you mentioned, maybe you have 3,000 products in your catalog, right? Maybe not all of them are meant for Amazon. In the same way for Prime Day, maybe you don't run a discount, or maybe you don't run a coupon on all 3,000 items in your Amazon catalog. Maybe you don't run a product, or you don't run a discount on every single product in there. Maybe you're just running a slight discount on most of the products. You're not really doing it for the sales increase. Maybe you're just doing it for a keyword increase, or you're doing it for a indexing, or you're trying to get your BSR higher. It could be a lot of different goals and a lot of different reasons that you run discounts on Prime Day. And so it's not always just, we want to boost in sales. We want to maximize sales. We want to grow sales, even at the cost of a little bit smaller margins. So.
Yeah. And going in, like, piggybacking off that, like with like 3,000 ASINs, like what do you want to accomplish? Like, really, what do you want to? That's the hands down. That's what you gotta kind of think in your mind. It's not just about like, well, I want to just sell all the products. Like, you wanna like have a very precise strategy at this point, especially with all of the costs and the fees and the margins and the tariffs and blah, blah, blah. So what you can do is you can take maybe your top 20%. Maybe your top 20% can go on sale. Maybe that has your margin, but maybe your top 20% is doing so well that you don't want to sell that at a discount because it's just already going to be selling. So maybe you want to take some of your long tail sales. Right now, I'm just going to start throwing stuff at I'm just throwing stuff at you guys just to kind of try to trigger some ideas here. But you can also like whatever ASINs that you want to put on sale, you can utilize those to funnel traffic elsewhere. So you can start building out a specific brand story that's going to push maybe your other products that might complement this exact item that you have on sale, and you use that like the quadrant thing in your brand story. That keeps the customer on your products, so they like your thing, they add that to cart, and they go, ooh, what's this brand story? I'm going to click here. Now you have traffic going over to this other thing that maybe or may not be on sale. Or you could even do a 5% off sale with the one item, the main item is on a ped, so that's getting pulled into the actual deal or the promotion. The brand story is triggering or like funneling you over to another item. But then you can also, in your A+ content, you can put a comparison chart and then start building out those comparison charts to complement that current product with other things. It doesn't necessarily have to be a one-to-one comparison. Like, let's say you're selling, I don't know, glasses, like a glass. Then you could sell a tumbler, silverware, plates, whatever in that comparison chart. So if somebody likes the brand, they're going to buy that. And now you have all these other areas on your listing to kind of keep them on your brand. You can even have your ads team focus solely on, let's say it's like 5-10 ASINs that you're going to promo, put defensive ads all over that so nobody else can kind of really get in there. And now you're going to keep those guys on your brand. So that's really going to be kind of the key. So if you don't have enough margin, start thinking creatively how you can keep your customer on your stuff as long as possible. If you get them to your store page, I mean, that's the best, because then you can just, I mean, the limit is your own imagination of what you can do on your store page. I mean, treat it like your website. So there's all sorts of different ways to kind of think about it. So again, it's always going to start with like, what's the goal? And when you have your goal kind of thought, like, I'm going to get reviews. I want reviews, or I want to make this much money, or I want to do this, or whatever that goal is, then you can start building out those strategies. You have some time. You have, what is it? 4 months, whatever.
Just about
4, 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, lots to kind of digest there, lots to kind of think about. Like, I don't have James and I can't just give you an answer here, because all of everybody's brand, everybody's product, everybody is going to be a little bit different. So you got to kind of think to yourself, what is best for me? And I don't know, James, you got more to say on that?
Yeah, you're exactly right, Eric. It also, it could be a product that you're sick and tired of staring at in your warehouse that's just sitting there, dust and cobwebs. You're like, your boss or yourself, if you're a business owner, keep seeing that on the books. Try a strategy. Try sending it into Amazon. Run a daily deal or a week deal, lightning deal, and see if you can move some units. Or have it in there and buy this particular item, get this one free. You could always use it to your advantage. There's so many different options. It just really depends. If it's sitting in your warehouse and it's not making money anyway, and you're paying taxes on it or whatever you're doing with it, or it's already written off as a loss, go ahead. Just use it to your advantage. Give it away. If they buy something, give it away. So there's a lot of different options. It's just really being creative, but we just can't, everything's brand specific on Amazon and everybody's business specific. So it really just depends on where you're at and
what your goals are.
Hopefully getting a good deal. Yeah, what your goals are, what your margins are. If you're sitting there operating on a 40 or 50% margin on Amazon, you might want to look at Amazon being a 15% to 20%, right? To make, I rather, if you could sell twice or 3x or 4x by lowering your margin by 20-25%, then I would definitely consider doing that. Maybe not all the products, but maybe not be too greedy in certain aspects of things. But again, it's just depending on what your business is and what your model is. And, wholesale, you're doing 50, 60 points anyway, right? Sell them to somebody else and let them kind of tack onto the listings and try to do everything. And, muddies your brand, the messaging's mixed up, Why, product segment, give wholesalers this particular item, have Amazon only, that you're going to make money off of, and you have the margins, and then you could use it on Walmart. You can go to TikTok Shop. You have products at different spaces. You're not competing with anything. Easier to control map. So there's a lot available. It's just figuring it out. That's the hardest thing, right?
Yeah. And just to kind of like recap it though, like get your inventory in as soon as possible. That's number one. Check your profitability and your margins and what you can even do. Then like the other thing is strategize. What's the purpose of participating in the promotion? Are you like, and I'll just rattle some things off. You want more reviews? Do you want more subscribe and saves? Do you want your BSR to improve? Do you want, just more money? Like, so it's just kind of pick some of the strategies or pick some of your goals, and then you can start making a strategy based on what your inventory is and everything else. So that's like, those are the three things that we can like tell you guys to kind of do as sellers. But when it gets to the nitty gritty stuff, that's going to be kind of really up to you guys, depending on what you want to do.
Right.
Just be prepared and anticipate the worst, and have your plan A and plan B in place.
Right. Pivoting is a big thing.
You'll hit. You've
flexible.
Yeah, you have to. So don't put all your eggs in a basket. Easter reference. Don't put it all in the basket and send it to Amazon. I would definitely hold some back just in case, and then hopefully things get pushed through if you don't see any delays. But if we had delays in a spring Prime event or a spring event, imagine the delays we're going to have in July Prime. Woo! It's maybe that's why they want it in enough time, that 60-day mark. Because right now, I noticed it was about 60 days to AWD sitting in check-in status, right? It's just sitting there. And then about 60 days from the moment that it's been received or check-in, about 60 days later, it gets closed, and then you have to file an appeal or get reimbursement and go down that, right? Or they'll find it out of the blue.
Right.
Okay. So if they do find it, what will happen is Amazon reimburse you if you file, and they reward you. They'll reimburse for the loss. And let's say it's $10,000 worth. They'll send you they'll add 10,000. Let's say they find it 3 months from now. They find the inventory. They'll take back that 10,000. So your line item, just be careful. You're like, hey, we're missing 10,000. It's just Amazon, reached back into the pocket and pulled the money back because they found the units for you. So
yeah, it's a shame that they lied, and they went back on their word of not increasing fees this year. It's the joke I always make to people when I talk about Amazon fees is that Jeff needs another super yacht, or he's got to pay off his couple divorces. So it's definitely, I don't want to say not surprising, but it's not surprising that he did this, and that but it's not surprising that the company did this, and that they went back on their word there. So it's something definitely to keep in mind for these upcoming events, and for events for, as long as these are implemented. We've seen Amazon change their mind before after some seller feedback. So maybe we'll get enough feedback on this that they decide to say, hey, never mind, we're going to keep coupons the same. It's okay. That would be nice. So, well, gentlemen, I want to thank you both for coming on to talk to me more about, again, the upcoming Prime Day, and more about how you can prepare as a seller. Again, thank you all for watching. If you need any help with your Prime Day, or you need help with managing your goals for your Prime Day, make sure to check out VelocitySellers.com. Be more than happy to help with the assist of these two gentlemen here. It's a tongue twister. But again, thank you all for watching. I am Velocity Pete, and we will see you next week.